Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mike King here. This is part of the Mike King Biz Media Network, ESPN Richmond. That's where we are. We're coming to you from the ESPN Live studio today. Oh, it's like a chamber reunion right here. All right, so, ma'am, tell us who you are and what you do.
My name is Elizabeth Johnson Phillips, and I actually wear a lot of hats.
You do? Yes, you do. Now, I know you as the lady at the chamber. Mm-hmm. You're a number of the chamber things, but tell us what hats you wear and what you do.
So, how I'm a member of the Chesterfield Chamber of Commerce is I'm the marketing manager for Proactive Information Management, which is a cybersecurity-focused managed service provider.
Okay.
And then also, adjacent to that, as I am a marketing consultant, I own my own marketing consulting firm. That's EJ Creates Consulting. And I also do house portraits for realtors for another side hustle for like watercolor house portraits. Once upon a time, I was a full-time professional artist and copy editor.
So you were always that creative person, even as a kid?
Even as a kid, I wanted to write the great American novel. Stories have always been a part of my life and being creative. So, yeah. So
it didn't matter to you, writing, drawing, that was the creative side of you. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how does it create, and is that the entrepreneur side, or?
Oh, 100% not at all.
Not at all.
I am not, if I could win the lottery, I would just paint and write stories all day. There's not, but I would say, at my heart, I'm a storyteller. Like, that's how I enter the world, and so sometimes I use a paintbrush, sometimes I use words, sometimes I use a pitch deck, sometimes I use a meta description. It just kind of all depends. It's all storytelling.
It is storytelling, and it's storytelling in business. Mm-hmm. You talk to a number of different people, and we're going to go through some of the endeavors that you have. When people come to you from a marketing perspective, what are things that you see now that people are making big-time mistakes with that they shouldn't?
I think everyone got the memo to know their why, and I think that that's really good. However, all they're talking about is themselves. I say that as I'm sitting here talking about myself. But it's really good to know why you do what you do, but it's more important to know why people need you and what problems you can solve to help other people, because everybody wants to be the protagonist in their own life. Every business wants to be the center of their own after-school special. So if you're talking about yourself, that's not going to be good. But if you can tell people, this is how I'm going to make your life better, this is how I'm going to make your business better, you're going to gain more traction. That's the story you need to be telling, is your market story, not your own.
Okay, so from the marketing perspective, how can people find information out about that so you can help their business?
That you can find me at ejcreatesconsulting.com. And you can also find me on Instagram at EJ Phillips. That is a hybrid of work and personal, so they'll hear a lot of my stories. But for marketing consulting, it would be www.ejcreatesconsulting.com.
So what's the engagement like with you when a person works with you from a marketing perspective?
First, I would meet with them and find out what they need, what problem they're having, a lot of small businesses come to me because they have a lot of marketing needs, but not necessarily enough to hire a full-time marketing person, which is a large group of people. And some people are talking about themselves but not gaining a lot of traction. So one of my clients, she's a realtor, as there are many realtors. So being able to set yourself apart as a realtor is a tricky thing, because most people pick their realtor who they're in Sunday school class with, who they met. But so as I'm getting to talk with this realtor, I realized as soon as I met her, I felt like I was at home. And I was like, that's your story. That's how we're going to sell you. So I will meet with a person and try to find out what problem they solve for their market, and then begin to craft that story for them and work with them. I've also found a lot of entrepreneurs need a person to whom they can bounce ideas off of, need a person, they have a lot of dreams and things in their mind, but don't know how to extract them. So one of my skills that I never really understood that this was a skill is I'm very good at saying, well, what I think you mean is. So I can take a very large concept that's sort of abstract and make it palatable for a layperson. That's, I work in the tech, my day job, I'm working in the tech industry, and I have no idea what people are talking about. But then after a while, I'll hear, oh, okay, it's a doorbell. You've just said a bunch of sciencey nerd words, but what you really need to sell is a doorbell. So that's what I can help people do, is help them find their voice so their customers listen.
There you go. And you are here with us today. On the tech side, what are some of the common mistakes that you see people are out there doing from a tech side?
A lot of people are using the same password for every
Everything under
single
the sun.
account. So if you get hacked once,
They're coming to get you everywhere.
correct. That would be the biggest problem we have. Either they're just not paying attention, their employees aren't trained, we have the classic joke of getting the email from the prince in Nigeria. And first thing I tell people is, number one, actually, there is no royal family in Nigeria.
Yeah.
It's an elected official. So that's first thing you know it's not true. But if you're beginning to doubt it, if you get an email, instead of clicking on a link, open a browser and go to homedepot.com and go to help. That way you're not clicking the link, because people will try to get into your system in whatever weakest link, because they're going to use a story, because people are motivated by emotion.
Stories.
People are motivated by story. They feel sorry. Let's assume the best. We're all good-natured people. We want to help people. And, I remember my elderly mom got a phone call saying that my nephew was in jail. Well, he's not going to call his grandma as his first call.
No.
And so she, of course, got concerned that her grandson was in jail. Just to let everyone know, I have no nieces or nephews that are in jail.
Okay,
They're all
great.
fine. They're all upstanding citizens.
But that is one of the scams that does go around.
Mm-hmm.
And because the person is nervous, they're concerned, they go ahead. Alrighty, so one last time, how can people find information out about you?
They can find me on Instagram at EJ Phillips, or for marketing help, that's going to be www.ejcreatesconsulting.com.
Okay, and real quickly, let's talk about the chamber. You're a part of the chamber. What does being involved with the chamber? Didn't you win the rock paper? Was that you? Okay, what was the story there? Because I was the reporter covering that.
First of all, this is one of my life lessons I should tell you. I went in, I'm on the Women's Business Council Committee, and I noticed that the speaker, Lori Warren, was sitting by herself. And my mom raised me that you don't let anyone eat lunch by themselves.
And here you go.
I went down, I listened to Glenda, and I sat down next to her, and I realized this is the speaker. This is actually this kind of famous
You
person.
didn't know at that point.
No,
You just sat down. You just saw a lady
like,
sitting by herself.
Right. So I went and sat down next to her, and she was like, oh, I usually sit by myself because people are too intimidated to sit with the speaker. And I was like, oh. And I just found her to be really lovely and human. I'm like, well, do you want to eat now? And she's like, I can't eat before I talk. I get too nervous and I worry about things in front of my teeth. And I'm like, okay, she's an actual human. She's a really good person. So she ended up being my cheer. We were partners for the rock, paper, scissors. We, in my family, we call it Rochambeau. We Rochambeau. I won. I beat Lori Warren. I just want that.
Yes.
I'm not a competitive
At
person,
that
but I
table.
beat Lori Warren. And then she was my cheerleader. She was my first cheerleader, and she followed me around. And I got more competitive and more competitive and more competitive. And then I went up against Billy Johnson.
And now Billy was running. He was making a run of it.
He's a popular guy.
Yes, he is. And
He's
he was
a popular
excited.
guy.
And I think people were laying their money on Billy.
And then
Wait a second. So Lizzie Oz says, oh, yes, she did.
Yes.
Tell it to Lizzie. Hey, what's happening? How you doing up there?
Lizzie.
Hey, you got to come back again. I saw you back in town. So make sure you come back and say hello. We got to talk again.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so Billy Johnson, he was out there.
He and I started talking smack because we both had middle school kids, so we're both in the thick of it.
Right, and the energy level in the room is crazy now.
Yeah, because I'm not quiet, and he's not quiet.
No.
And I just want to say this. I won one, he won one, but it's best 2 out of 3. And Billy, I let him win, is what I'm saying. And then I think he ended up winning the whole tournament. So
There you go, Billy.
I was a finalist. I was a runner-up, maybe.
There you go. Well, one last time, how can people find you?
Yeah. It's Elizabeth Johnson Phillips for EJ Creates Consulting. That is www.ejcreatesconsulting.com.
Alrighty, we got to go. On the mic with Mike. Take care. Thanks for coming in. Take care. Bye.